nerd, and it's time to reckon with the fact that because I run a music channel, I gotta talk about Drake. Legendary Toronto rapper who did have some legitimately viral moments to it, it's true, but it was subsequently taken down because I guess the both of them ended up on bad terms at some point, which also coincided with Bobby's career careening into a ditch with sponsors and podcast guests drying up. And look, a lot of this for Bobby is very personal, and I don't know enough to comment on every single aspect of it, but Bobby and Drake have miraculously found themselves.
The problem with Bobbi Althoff, in my opinion, Chet, is that her interviewing skills are absolutely abysmal. And you can be funny for skits and for clips, right? But the reality is that if you lack substance, right, people are going to see the sparkles and people are going to see the frosting on the internet when it comes down to like the clips or whatever, right? But people that want the people that are going to stay with what's very very important, that substance. And if you lack substance, it's gonna fail. Is what it is. It's not like some magical
yet
like
again
formula
where they can mutually benefit from one another and maybe engage in a bit of.
She's not very engaging with her
you
guests.
Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Let's launder each other's respective reputations here.
After that, it was like pretty hard. I was like, people were like, "Oh,
yeah,
how could you like put her on and then take her off right after?"
Why would take you off?
But that's kind of how people saw it. That's how people saw it.
Also in this podcast,
damn boy, that's good. Wait,
how people saw it. That's how people saw it.
Also in this podcast,
dude,
she
did not like that. Dude, she did not like that.
From her telling her that she is
that
such
is crazy.
a good mom, like the best mom of all time. He can't even believe it.
Dude, that's good banter. You gotta roll with the punches, dude. Drake dude, that was crazy.
You were asking for like the first flight out, like you're like, I have to get back to my kids. You were just pumping out.
Oh my God.
That pure white.
Thank you.
And it's funny because even though these two clearly have a familiarity with each other and they describe numerous moments where they're kind of like hanging out and traveling in order to do this interview, I still don't really get the sense that Drake knows enough about her to like really definitively say that she's like such an amazing mom. And the only shred of proof he seemingly has of that is this story about pumping breast milk that he goes into, which I mean, obviously for a young new mom is a very normal thing, but Drake somehow makes the topic just feel really weird in ways that are just unnecessary and frankly, like, you know, don't flatter Bobby as much as this story should.
Oh, there were cows in Tennessee that were jealous.
I was hooked up to the
Their
wall.
udders couldn't even comprehend how we could have had a bakery, a butter factory. We could have done anything. I mean,
a butter factory. This is
honestly
okay. That's I appreciate the
this is all a compliment.
It is. I appreciate the compliment behind all of this.
It was
milk sauce.
It was like 2%, 1% skim.
Bobby also gets Drake like really solidifying that connection with her and saying that like he sees potential in her and says that people needlessly hate on her and affirms the idea that people just like don't get what she does and that's why they're so angry.
It was all defended that.
Which again,
dude, 2-hour podcasts where it's kind of going in circles, dude. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep it about. You're gonna have segments that are legit like the most disastrous fucking
I don't know what
lines of dialogue is what it is, dude. Look at the fucking the Train Scuff podcast. Look at some of the excerpts from that fucking podcast. Some shit was so like just odd for like 10 minutes straight is what it is.
Enough about Bobby personally to say how much of this stuff is or isn't true. But what is clear is that one of the only purposes this podcast serves is to trick me into thinking what it's pushing.
Just recognizing somebody that I never met in my life, that I fully believed in, that I thought was really interesting and I wanted to have an interesting conversation with. It pissed off like so many like all these fucking losers, you know, like story journalists only to like sit with Zane Lowe while he like asks you like the most like curated and formal questions. No disrespect to him, you know, like I think we did something that was special.
Like on some level, this just feels like Bobbi Althoff propaganda. And then there's the Drake side of all of this, because Drake has his own series of points he wants to casually go over a little bit, dispel.
But it's still a bit of a reach.
And Bobbi Althoff is the perfect person to help him do exactly this, because as an interview, she famously knows almost little to nothing about her guests. And even when she does happen to know something about them, you're lucky if you get a fucking follow-up question. And once again, the only awkward
Chat, I hate to give him points on this, but it is true, chat. Guys. She's not a good interviewer. It is what it is.
That comes across in this conversation seems to stem mostly from Bobbi's social anxiety, not because she's like asking any tough questions or anything like that. But yeah, in the midst of this conversation, Drake essentially tries to address the idea that he's like a BBL drizzy and that his abs are fake, claiming at one point that like, you know, he showed Bobbi his abs and more or less like, you know, I guess that's like confirmation enough the abs are real.
Oh, like, are your abs real?
Why are you acting like that's not a question everyone has? People think you got
less than 3.
Procedure done.
Really?
Did you do that?
No.
Is that a thing?
I'm sure it is.
Why do you know that?
People also say that I got a BBL, right? BBL drizzy. So.
Oh, that's true.
Real.
Did
I don't
you?
know if my like wagon looked crazy when I walked in here, but
Drake also gets to show his audience that he's not petty and he's not mean and he's not an angry guy, because look at the way he's like let Bobbi back into his heart here. And in one of the
but it's a 2-hour podcast though.
emotionally intense moments
podcast,
of the
though.
entire conversation, Drake goes into the ongoing accusation that as an artist he does a lot more taking than he does giving in terms of all of the various collabs he's done with rap artists over the years, especially rappers and singers from Atlanta.
even in music, people will be like, oh, like you're a culture vulture, or like you, you know, like people will describe the collaborative efforts that I've put forth and the artists that I've picked up and lifted up or shine a light on as me taking, you know. They'll put a negative spin on it and try and tell me, you know, that it's a self-serving thing or whatever. And I think I get really sensitive about that.
But he doesn't exactly.
Young Thug was right about when he said that, let's be honest. Well, not just Kendrick, but some of these other guys, who did they put on? Who has such influence that they put a bunch of people on that still have thriving, massive careers that they're taking to take care of the people that are going around and just giving careers out just for being close to somebody. Nobody. Mr. Ye, Mr. Drizzy, Mr. Jay-Z, sometimes, let's be honest, Jay-Z, no disrespect, he needs the features, he needs the collabs. Without those, Jay-Z loses substance. His solo shit is trash. It is what it is. I'm not even trying to be rude, but name 3 great songs where he's the one that's one man showing. Go ahead. Okay, now gun to your head. You had okay. Don't let me then. Gun to your head. Three songs of Nope. I'm looking at some of these titles. Guys, a lot of those are collabs. But I said mine is a collab. What the fuck are you guys even talking about? You're trolling, right? Alicia Keys. Yay. Rihanna. Linkin Park. Yay. We can just keep going. I don't give a fuck. I don't have a doggish fight. I don't give a shit. Every singular good song is collabs. 404. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if what you're doing is, dude, but what about this? What about this? Okay, yes, I agree. That's why I said find me 3 of them. He has like a label thing. He has like a group, but he didn't. It's not like by existing around them like that.
Monkey Bingus,
supposed to take him at his word and basically say, okay, I mean, he almost cried. I guess like that criticism doesn't really matter or mean anything. Even the offhanded comment toward the end of the podcast about Drake being more willing to rep Toronto than someone from LA.
He is an actor reading a script.
Okay, even if that were true, right? He's still putting people on it, even in a world where that was true, right? The extent of his actions and who he is as a brand and how he conducts himself is literally putting people on by just existing in a song with them. It's that simple. It's not. I'm just saying. Even in a world where you were right, okay, cool, sure, you're right. Let's say he's an actor. He still has more influence in putting people on way more than anybody else. Like, that's not even close.
Would be with repping LA.
You're from LA, right?
I mean, in the area.
In the area. Nobody wants to claim it now. Nobody wants to bang it around the gang in the area.
Claim what?
No, nothing.
Okay. What are you trying to say?
No, it's all good.
Did
I know
anything?
where I'm from. From that 6. You know, if you ask me, I'm throwing that shit in
Is
your
that
face.
Toronto?
Yeah.
Even that feels massively calculated, and when you actually think about it, doesn't even make sense. So yeah, those are some points that are addressed in the midst of this podcast, but believe me when I tell you, the vast majority of this thing is just mind-numbing filler. Even toward the halfway point of this conversation, as Bobbi says, it's time to like start the interview. The conversation gets no more deep or serious than it's been up until that point, as you basically go from one story after the other of Bobbi essentially getting like white girl wasted as she's hanging out with Drake, to Drake essentially going off on this rant about how into goth girls with big boobs he is.
I
Girl,
really
today I'm gonna-
feel like my destiny
I
is
really-
to end up with like a goth
Shut up.
baddie with just
That's-
absolute
Do
O
those two
cups.
words.
And how he hasn't like popped out with one yet because they don't want him, and he doesn't think like the world is ready for him to be
Chad, this is like a hate watcher POV.
publicly with a long-term partner like he would want, that they would understand or something.
That's a fair point. Well, I mean, if that was Drake's mindset, that would be it would be valid.
Like, why does what the world thinks about who you actually want to date in your heart even factor? What the hell does that matter? That
The reason why it matters is that at a certain level of influence, when you're so big, the problem is that the public will find every possible way of wedging the two of these people away from each other, right? By using pressure points and doing a bunch of really weird shit, like, oh, dude, look at this person's past. Look at this. Oh, what do you feel about this? What do you feel about you? And it wedges people away from each other. It's awful. It's trash. And it's why a lot of people keep their shit private. So they don't do it. It's why having some unconventional dating a partner, you would probably want to keep it private, because especially when you're in a game, in an environment, especially like rap music, where appearances are almost everything. The appearance of having some amount of money, the appearance of being tough, the appearance, whatever. So if you come up with a bad bitch that isn't really a bad bitch, and she's not really hot or half naked on camera, whatever, right? Well, let's be honest. People are gonna fucking clown you and be weird, and they're gonna fucking apply a lot of pressure on you and on your partner, and maybe it's gonna be too much for the other person, and they'll just leave. Like, for me, it's not worth it. Dealing with the headache of being fucking shit on all the time because of how much influence there is and how much spotlight there is, I don't want to deal with that shit. And for most people, 90% of people, they can handle it. I'm telling you, more than 90% plus, I would say 95% of people cannot handle that type of pressure. It's just too much.
among many other things in this podcast, especially the moments in which Bobbi and Drake kind of detail their falling out, just feels so...
Let me show you this post. It was a Giannis chat. It's actually very interesting. Chat. Guys, there's a post about whoever Giannis is dating. Guys, it's a basketball player, I think. Let me the post. I know for a fact you guys know what I'm talking about. It's very interesting. How recent it was yesterday. Hold on. Found it. Bang. Like, just shit like this is just odd. Like, it's just odd. Like, oh, dude, tears. James could easily bag Sophie Ryan, but chose this. Like, what the fuck is that? That's just odd. Like, imagine just like existing and like being in love with somebody, right? Being a chosen one, just doing your thing. You're not even doing anything, and getting shit on for just existing because they're like more conventionally attractive, like adult fucking content creators. It's odd. It's odd. It's odd. Like, and don't this shit. There's just one guy doing this. Brother, this shit is everywhere. Is it Twitter was real life? But you don't understand that these people, it is part of their job. It is part of their endeavors to be online. They have to be a public figure. They're drawn to be a public figure, and they have to be. And that's not like getting shit all the time. They just have to. It's shit.
High school. Like, these are not ways in which rational adult people see and interact with and interpret the world. But yeah,